Hot Mic Sports, home of the hot takes, and where we keep the mic hot. Presented to you by Hot Mic Entertainment. We back with another episode. Feels good to be back in the midst of the NBA season. Things are getting ramped back up, so I thought to myself, what better topic to talk about than who really started NBA super teams? Every time a superstar joins a team with other superstars, the same questions occur. Is the game getting soft? Did the player ruin the game? They would have never done this back in the day, would they? Well, to answer that question, it's been going on for a long time. We just never really shed the spotlight on it because some of our favorite players actually have been part of some great super teams. So let's go ahead and get right into it, y'all. We're going to kick this thing off with the most significant one in a lot of people's eyes because it made the biggest splash in NBA history. And that was the decision in 2010 when LeBron James decided to go to Miami Heat and team up with D. Wade and Chris Bosh. 3 superstars in their prime, right? 3 future Hall of Famers. Boys was balling at the time. They were some of the best players in the league, if not 3 of the top 5 best players in the league. And everybody was mad at LeBron for going to Miami. They thought he was ducking the smoke. They thought he was ducking the smoke from the Celtics and the Detroit Pistons. Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, so to speak, but if you think about it, isn't Chauncey Billups, Rasheed Wallace, Ben Wallace, Rip Hamilton, and Tayshaun Prince a super team? I'm just saying. Didn't LeBron beat that super team to go to the finals? Just saying. But that's not about that. What this is about is super teams have been going on for a long time. The decision was the one that pretty much shed light on players controlling their own destiny. And to be honest with you, I think that is what people had a bigger issue with than the superstars playing together at once. Because if you think about it, that big 3 was competitive against another big 3 in Boston. And that was the Celtics of Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce. The difference between the two, the front office put together the big 3 with the Boston Celtics. That was very strategic and very smart by Danny Ainge, being able to bring Kevin Garnett from Minnesota and Ray Allen from Seattle to team up with Paul Pierce. They went to a couple finals. They won 1, which I think that was a failure in a way because you think if you got 3 Hall of Fame players of that caliber, they should at least won 2. I know they played in 2, but you were expecting a lot more out of them. Now, this next one, a lot of people, including myself, you're going to hold this one near and dear to your heart. And that was Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman. Even though Dennis Rodman was on the backside of his career and Mike and Scottie didn't know what they were going to do going into the future at the time, that was a big 3 team. A lot of people don't want to talk about it. They actually held a 72-10 record before the Golden State Warriors broke that record. And the most interesting part about it was Scottie Pippen was out for most of the season, and the Bulls still were the number 1 seed in the East. So at the end of the day, was it because of Michael Jordan's greatness that got him there, or was it because the big 3 was a symbol? And you have to remember, they did three-peat. However, the last 2 seasons together, Rodman wasn't there the whole season, Scottie Pippen wasn't there the whole season, and they still won the finals. That's a test to the greatness. But we're not going to get off the subject of the big 3. That was a big 3, whether you want to say it was or not, no matter if players are past their prime or not. Anytime you have Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, and Dennis Rodman on the same team, who wouldn't want that? I mean, you got the greatest of all time with the greatest number 2 of all time and probably the greatest wingman, and Dennis Rodman, one of the greatest defensive players, if not the greatest defensive player of all time, and undoubtedly the greatest rebounder of the basketball of all time. Now, I did just mention the Warriors broke that record, and it was not the Warriors that you may be thinking of. However, KD did decide to go to Golden State and take his talent there to team up with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. Once again, another super team. Once again, another player taking control of his own destiny, not waiting on the front office to decide his fate. Now, that team right there, debatably, is one of the greatest teams, if not the greatest team of all time. Because if you think about it, that starting 5, I mean, I don't know who would have beat them, to be honest with you. There's a lot of debates, maybe the 01 Lakers, maybe the 96 Bulls. But as far as modern time, that team is the greatest team of modern day. I don't care who you got. KD, Steph, Klay, Draymond, all at that particular time were the best complete team all the way around. And Steve Kerr had Kevin Durant playing defense. Come on, man. I mean, what more can you say? Now, there's been some other teams out there, some honorable mentions that I'm going to bring up. The 01 Lakers, Shaq, Kobe, Derek Fisher, Rick Fox, Horace Grant. I think that team would have been able to compete with the Warriors and the Chicago Bulls in '96. And I also think that the Detroit Pistons are another honorable mention with Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton, Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace. But that was a team put together by the front office. And I think that is the biggest difference throughout NBA history. Now, last but not least, the Showtime Lakers of the 1980s. Another team put together by the front office, but you had Magic, Kareem, Worthy. I mean, come on, man. That is not a super team. And then they were facing another quote-unquote super team, if you want to call them that, of Bird and the Celtics, with Danny Ainge, Robert Parrish, Kevin McHale, Dennis Johnson. That was a squad, y'all. So I have to say this. Super teams didn't start with LeBron James. So let's stop holding that against his legacy. If anything, we should respect how LeBron went back to Cleveland and beat the 73-9 Warriors to get that chip. Some say it was rigged with Draymond being out. But at the end of the day, nonetheless, LeBron was able to get it done. So we have to stop putting the super team label on LeBron James, and we have to understand and be honest with ourselves. Super teams didn't start today. Super teams have gone back to the 80s, y'all. This has been going on as long as we can remember. We have to stop comparing this modern era to the old school, y'all, because all we're doing, if you think about it, with these super teams is rewriting history. This is Dev at Hot Mike Sports, presented to you by Hot Mike Entertainment. I can't wait to see you on my next episode, y'all. Until next time, keep it hot.